Good evening and welcome back to our weekly question and answer series for anash.org. Question: if we haven't gone swimming before the 3 weeks, can we start swimming after Shavuos B'Tamas? Yes, after Shavuos B'Tamas till the 9 days, it is permitted to go to swim. And even if you didn't go to swim before the Shavuos B'Tamas, before the 3 weeks, you could still go afterwards. There are some people who say that you could go swimming only if you started and you went already swimming before the 3 weeks, but this has no source and no makar. So to answer your question, yes, you could go swimming even if you didn't go till the 3 weeks. Of course, you have to watch out in the 3 weeks much more than other during the year, not to do things which is a matzav shel skona. So if you go to the swimming in the ocean, you have to watch not to go in very deep or not to do stupid things which is dangerous, because in the 3 weeks it is a skona more than during the whole year. So therefore you have to watch much more when you go swimming and doing other things. Question: must the camp performance performed in the 3 weeks be time related, serious or sad? The answer is yes. In the 3 weeks you don't make happy performance and you don't make dances, because after all, the 3 weeks is a time that you have to be b'matzav of aveilus. And the Nitei Gavril writes in the Sefer that even if there is a play which you have to practice during the 3 weeks, for a play which is going to be after 3 weeks, after Tisha B'Av, you cannot practice dancing and singing. So the performances in the camps has to be more serious in the 3 weeks and nothing to do with singing and dancing. Question: can we take a family trip during the 3 weeks, such as grilling in a park, hiking, walking in the lake or stream? Me'ikar adin, there is no isser to go hiking or making a טיול in the Beinam till Rosh Chodesh Av. There is a Reb Chaim Pelagi which says that you should refrain from going on trips during the days after Shavuos B'Tamas till Rosh Chodesh Av. But the poskim write that that's a meaning where it was accepted, whereas that was the custom over there. But me'ikar adin, the iser of going for a טיול, it is only in the 9 days from Rosh Chodesh Av, and not before. Obvious, as I mentioned before, you have to watch out whenever you go that it shouldn't be a place in a thing which is dangerous. Although during the year it's not easy to do that because it's not that dangerous, but when it comes to the 3 weeks, since it's azman mesigel for askona, you have to take extra precaution not to doing things which could be anything in askona. So therefore, if you're going in a stream or in a lake, you have to do it very carefully and not be going into askona. But there's not a iser to doing this after 3 weeks to Rosh Chodesh Av. The same one is also, it is no iser to go to a hotel or rent out a vacation apartment or going for Shabbosam to your family and friends. All these things is permitted in the 3 weeks till Rosh Chodesh Av. Question: does a chosen in the Sheva Brochas need to fast on Shavuos B'Tamas? Yes, the Bir Alucha writes in Simon Tuf Kif Mem Tes B'Shem Maritva that a chosn which got married before she was a betamas, and she was a betamas is one of the in middle of the Sheva brachas. A chosn is mechiyev to fast. Question: are you allowed to make a bracha oise maase baraishis even though you don't see the lightning bolt, only the sky lights up? The Alter Rebbe writes in Lich Berges Sanhenem Parigid by Sivchov Dalet Va'al habrukim va'al haraamim, for thunder and lightning you make a bracha oise maase baraishis. And from these words va'al habrukim va'al haraamim, it's mashma that you don't have to see the lightning itself. If you see that the sky lit up, that's enough to make a bracha on the lightning. And this is exactly what the Tzitz Eliezer writes in Chayligid Bais Simach of Aleph, that in Chazal, in Talmud, in Rambam, in Torah Shechanurach, they don't say the word haroya. But other things you say, haroya chama, haroya levuna bit chedisha. But over here it doesn't say haroya brukim. If somebody sees a lightning, it says on a lightning you make a bracha. So from this we see that you don't have to see the actual bolt. It is enough that you see that the sky lights up, you can make a bracha. And this is also what Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach writes in Minchas Shlomo Heilig Beis Simadalat Oslam Adalat, and he finishes, that's the Minige Oilam. So to answer your question, yes, you don't have to see the actual lightning bolt. It's enough if you see the sky lights up. Question: I enjoy watering the birds outside in the backyard. Can I fill up the bird feeder on Shabbos? The Mungen of Rum writes in Simashich of Dalat, Sif Kuten Zion, that there's a minig by some people that they put wheat, they put chitim, Shabbos shira for the birds. And the Megavrum ends up, and this minig is not a correct minig, because there's not a chiyuv. You have it's not birds that belong to you that you have to feed them. So therefore, you cannot feed an animal which is not on you to feed them. Animals or birds which that means they don't depend on you for food, you cannot give them to eat on Shabbos. So the Mungavrum writes, how could you give Shabbos shira wheat for the birds? It's not upon you to feed them. And this is also Alter Rebbe paskens in Shechanorach Simashich of Dalat Siv Zayin, that only birds or animals which is in your house and you have to give them to eat, you could give them to eat. But if it's animals which is not yours and they don't depend on you feeding them, it's also to give them to eat. That goes on birds, that goes on animals, that goes on cats and dogs. And therefore, you could not fill up the bird feeder on Shabbos for birds that is not yours, which is in the backyard. They should come and eat. Question: can one go to mikveh with a bathing suit on Shabbos if there is a psik raisha that one will squeeze it? That means if there is, that's the question, is there a psik raisha that one will squeeze it? Some people do squeeze out their bathing suits after swimming. Is it considered something big? Is it considered a baggage eine maktvet? So could we go to mikveh on Shabbos with a bathing suit? This is the question. And the answer is, we know that a beged, a garment which has water, you cannot squeeze it out. There is two reasons why you can't squeeze out water from your garment. One is Isser Malabim, cleaning it. That means, how do you clean a beged? You put it into water, and the water cleans it, and then you squeeze it out, and the dirty water goes out, and the dress, and the beged, and the garment stays clean. That's one Isser. The second Isser is squeezing out a beged, is because Mefarek is told of the dosh, threshing. That means taking out water from a place where it is. So that's the Isser of Mefarek. Now, Lagaba, the first Isser of Malabim, which is cleaning, the Alter Rebbe writes in Simmer Shim Bais, Sif Chuf Aleph, that a beged which is clean and it's not dirty, we don't say that by putting it into water, by Shiriyus Zikivus, we don't say that the water cleans it. And therefore, you are permitted to put on top of it mayim yutim, a little bit of water, but not putting in a lot of water, because we are afraid you're going to come and squeeze it out from the water. Only if it's a beged that you are not makpat, it should have water. That means if you have a garment which even during the weekdays, if it has water, you're not going to squeeze it. Therefore, and it's a beged which is clean, there is not a problem of malabim. So, then the Alter Rebbe brings, there are some poskim which disagree with this, and he finishes, according to everyone, we don't say that a garment that has no lichlech on it, that means which is it's not dirty, is that there is a problem. That means the machloikes is only if a clean beged, since you don't need it to clean, if we say shiriyus zekibusa, by putting it into water, that is itself cleaning. So over this we have a machloikes. But if it's a garment that you're putting it into liquid, into water, whatever, and that's a way to make it dirty, it's bederech lichlech, then everybody agrees that there's no iser of what is it called, cleaning. So therefore, a person has no problem coming out from the mikveh, taking a towel and drying himself with a towel, although that the towel is going to come wet. So why don't we say that by making it wet, that's itself cleaning? Because it's derech lichlech. That means, what do you want to do? You are making it wet. You are making it dirty. You are not making it clean. You're not taking the towel to clean it. So therefore, it is called derech lichlech, and therefore, we don't say shiriyus zekibusoy. Therefore, a person which goes to a tzorech mitzvah, he has to go somewhere and there's a puddle and there's a river over there, and he has to go through the water in Shabbos. Since it's tzorech mitzvah, he is permitted to go into the water, to cross over the river, because he goes to a tzorech mitzvah. And we don't say that by making wet your garment, you're cleaning it, because that's derech lichlech. You're not cleaning it, adrabah, you're making it wet, you're making it dirty. So therefore, the tzorech mitzvah, you are permitted to go into the water with such a beged. And the Alter Rebbe finishes in haminig lehukel v'chayin ikke. That's the minig. So when it comes to our question, could you go to mikveh Shabbos in the morning with a bathing suit? Is it going to become wet? The answer is, since going to mikveh is a tzorech mitzvah, So we don't say shirius is ekibus. So we don't say that by making wet this bathing suit, you're cleaning it. So therefore, there is not a problem of libun, and you are permitted to go into the water with a bathing suit. That's regarding the problem of cleaning it. So since it's a beged which is made to get wet, it's a beged which is you going into the water not derech nikiyos, not by cleaning it, only making it dirty. So it's a tzorech mitzvah, and tzorech mitzvah you are permitted to doing that. Now the second chashash of making wet, squeezing out water from a clothing is mishim mafarek. As I said, mafarek is told the dosh, threshing. Now the Alter Rebbe writes in Siman Shin Bais that a garment which is wet, which does not make it clean, it's still osur mishim mafarek. But he finishes that since if a person does not need the water, because dosh mafarig is only when you squeeze it because you need the water, you want to have the water. If a person does not need the water, so therefore it's not a problem of mafarig dosh because he does not need the water to come out. So any garment which you have no problem leaving the water inside and you don't need it to squeeze out, and not only you don't need it, most of the time when a person takes off his bathing suit, he does not even squeeze it out. There are people who will squeeze it out. Most of the people will not squeeze it out, just take it and hang it up on a line. So therefore, by taking it off, it is not a problem of schita. Now of course, you have to take it off very gentle and make sure not to squeeze. It shouldn't be a psik raisha. But if you take it off gentle and you don't squeeze out anything, although maybe a drop where you have where your hands will be, some water will come out, that's not a chashash, and therefore there is not a problem to going into a mikveh or a swimming pool or a river to go to Mikveh Shabbos in the morning, because of cleaning you don't need it, because you're making it derech lichlich, you're making it dirty, and because of mafarek you have no problem because you're doing it because you don't need the water, and since you don't need the water, it's not a problem of mafarek. And the little bit of water which comes out where you touch the bathing suit when you take it off, it's not a problem, because we see that halacha, that the person his clothing got wet, he has no problem taking it off on Shabbos. And you don't say when you're going to touch your clothing, your coat, which is wet for Shabbos, you're going to squeeze. The Alter Rebbe writes in Shulchan Aruch Siman Shin Aleph Sifni in Tes that a beged which you are not makbat to squeeze out the water, even during the weekdays, you have no problem to being metaltal such a beged. So to answering the question, if it's the tzorech mitzvah to go to mikveh, it is permitted to go with a bathing suit, and that's the minig, by the way, that people go if it's in a public place and they cannot go regularly, they will go with a bathing suit, and there's not a problem of Shabbos to doing that. Question: before buying grapes or cherries, I want to know if they are sweet. So I sometimes taste one from the bag. Is this genaiva? Is this considered stealing? Do I need to offer the bookkeeper, the storekeeper, money for that what I tasted? In Shulchan Aruch Mishpat Siman Shin in Tes Sif Aleph, it says that a person is also to steal even a kol shehi, even a tiny drop, it is not permitted to steal. But if it's a thing which a person is not makbat, he doesn't care if you take it. For instance, you're going through his backyard and you take a piece of a piece of the wood from his fence in order to make a toothpick, it is not considered genaiva because people are not makbad on it. This is according to the Shulchan Aruch. Now, in the Yerushalmi says that although it's not genaiva, Midas Chasidus is that you should not do this. Even such a thing, you should not take it because it's not Midas Chasidus. And the Smag over there in Shini and Tez brings down the reason for it. But when it comes to our question, I think that not only it's not a problem of Geneva, it's not even a problem of Midas Chasidus also not. Because over here, every storekeeper has no problem that a person wants to buy something and he wants to know if it's tasty, which one to buy, and he should eat one grape in order to see if it's good, if it's tasty. He's not makbed on it. It is not only that if you're going to ask him, he's going to say, okay, forget about it, I'm b'moichel you. But to begin with, he has no problem that a person should take a grape in order to see if it's good, in order to buy it. Because after all, he wants to sell the stuff. And he wants people should buy it. And if a person will not taste it, some people will not buy it. So over here, it's not only that the balabais, if you're going to ask him, if you ask him beforehand, maybe he won't let you, but afterwards he'll say, okay, forget about it, don't pay me. In this scenario, he's ready that you should take a grape or a cherry in order to see if it's good, in order to buy. So therefore, if you are intending to buy and you only want to see if it's good, which one to take, then you are permitted to taste a piece. The continuing from the question is, at the vegetable market, I sometimes pick a cabbage with lots of other layers that I am going to throw away anyway. Am I allowed to peel them on the spot and leave them at the market, even though this would reduce the price of the cabbage a bit? Or is it considered stealing? And in this case, you cannot do that. It is considered stealing. Because no storekeeper is ready that you should do that. This is the way how they sell. They sell a cabbage, a full cabbage, and this is how they sell it by weight. It is as if as you're going into the fish store and you're cleaning the fish, the inside, everything, and you're paying just for the fillet. Usually it doesn't work like that. Usually when you're going to the fish store, they take a whole fish, they weigh it, they have the price, and then they will cut it for you and they'll give it for you. Because the part of the throwaway, that's part of the price. So when you buy a cabbage, part of the price is the layer outside. That you are going to throw away. It is as if you buy onions and you peel off all the other layers in the store and you only take to the register the inside. It doesn't work like that. No storekeeper is ready for that. And this is not the way how it works business-wise. So therefore, in such a case, no, you cannot take off the other layers and pay only for the inside. You have to pay for the full cabbage, and then afterwards, if you want to peel it off and throw it in the garbage can of the storekeeper, if he allows you, then go ahead. But in this case, it is a problem of Geneva. Okay, thank you for joining us, and please join us again next week. Good night and have a wonderful week.